Hello everyone, Operator Starsky here. Nice to see you tonight. As usual, we have a blackout in Hostomel, but who cares? So these 2 days were intense in terms of incredible amount of Russian propaganda that was spotted all over Ukrainian media, Russian media as well, and everywhere else. So hi everybody. Okay, yeah, I can see familiar names. In the past 24 hours, Russians traditionally lost 700 men, according to the General Staff of Ukraine, specifically 710 men, making it 112,470 Russian soldiers dead in Ukraine. They also lost 4 tanks, making it 3,084 tanks destroyed in Ukraine in total since the beginning of the invasion. Just imagine this number, 3,000 tanks destroyed in Ukraine. I think some of those were of course captured, or we're talking about like separate number. But if those are reported as destroyed, then probably they are destroyed. Also in the past 24 hours, 7 armored vehicles were also eliminated in Ukraine. And the total number of armored vehicles, Russian armored vehicles eliminated in Ukraine, again, according to the General Staff of Ukraine, is 6,154. You can imagine this pile of metal. I'm trying to make some video to show you some specific pile of metal here in Hostomel nearby. Also, yesterday, one light armored boat was destroyed near Kherson, and the total number of ships destroyed during this war, Russian ships, including their flagship Moscow, is 17 ships. So we have a bunch of news from our security service of Ukraine. For example, yesterday in Dnipro, security service of Ukraine raided a covered office of one pro-Russian party. It's so-called Shari's party. And Shari is a pro-Russian blogger who claims to be objective, but like everybody knows, he has those pictures with Skabeyeva, and he shares all kinds of Russian narratives. So we don't have any illusions regarding this man. And here you can see a bunch of fake journalist IDs that were found in that office. Of course, there was a bunch of different propagandist materials. Shari himself is hiding in Spain, in a specific location known by Ukrainian special services. And not only them. And here, for example, there's one leaflet that was supposed to be disseminated in Dnipro specifically. And it says, you should not pay for bad communal services. There's like a date at 15:30, the blank address. Together we will talk to those representatives of communal services, so during the wartime, when we have our civilian infrastructure bombed and hit by cruise missiles and Shahid drones, this man was trying to ignite mass protests, and that's exactly what Russia wants today, because Russia wants Ukrainian people to rise up because they don't have light, because Russia destroys our infrastructure. Pressa means press, basically. Okay, also in Kiev, the security service of Ukraine found another hideout of Russian informational terrorists who disseminated Russian propaganda using a bot farm consisting of hundreds of fake accounts in the social media. For example, here we have a bunch of screenshots. Those were sent to those men by their subordinates, hired people who posted Russian propaganda, to receive their reward. There's a bunch of again screenshots. They were sharing the old Russian narrative regarding the biolabs that were built on the territory of Ukraine to grow those birds and yada yada. And I think you know that story. And yeah, here they have all kinds of their communication with their hired people, hired bot administrators and things like that. So it's a good thing, good news. Another Russian bot farm was neutralized on the territory of Ukraine, specifically on the territory of Kiev. And here we have another picture. This is the city of Bakhmut nowadays. This is exactly how Bakhmut looks like today, and to me it reminds Rubizhny and Severodonetsk big time, because Russians are destroying every house, so Ukrainian defenders cannot use this city to defend it, basically. They cannot have place to place their defense positions. And guys, please remember this picture. We'll talk about it a bit later. We also have the satellite image of Soledar. Again, this town is burning. It's shelled all the time, and same situation. I mean, it's their same tactics. How's the weather in your position? It's kind of cold, I would say. It was freezing today. We were making some video with our National Guard people, and yeah, it was freezing. Probably I will get sick. Probably not. I hope not. Yeah, so talking about Russian propaganda, the video I'm gonna show you, and I have no idea how come I missed this video, because it's not very fresh, but it was made around the new year. On this video you will see Mrs. Skabeyeva, one of the most popular Russian hosts, and simultaneously she's known as one of the biggest Russian propagandists of all times. And I will not I will mute the sound because there's subtitles, but they're in Russian, but I will translate them for you because they are hilarious. And guys, just prepare, okay? If you're standing, you better sit down, because it's absolutely hilarious. So it was in the news, in the actual news. And basically she says, in Germany, candles depleted from the stores completely, but they weren't bought for Christmas holidays. Germans anticipate blackouts in winter and buying alternative sources of light. But the things are even worse in the UK. Due to the growing prices, citizens of the British Cardiff started consuming the food for pets. They use household heaters like radiators to warm up the pet food, British women become prostitutes and they have sex for survival. We're talking about sex in exchange for food and heating. Sex for survival. I don't know what to say regarding Germans. Dear German friends, can you please explain me how the hell do you use candles to celebrate Christmas and New Year? Are you like running around with those candles? I mean, if it's a birthday party, yeah, I can understand that, but it's like, hey, we have a new year, grab your candle and let's celebrate. Oh my god. And the UK. Why Cardiff? I mean, what the hell is wrong with Cardiff? Why Cardiff specifically? Jesus Christ. Guys, you gotta understand one thing. So, this woman, here in Ukraine, she's known as Toilet Mouth. She has this nickname she acquired many years ago. But she's not like a minor host in Russia. She has this mainstream show on the Russian television. So this was shown to majority of Russian people. And you can imagine, for example, Conan O'Brien or David Letterman, right? Saying this exactly kind of BS publicly and seriously, like you're supposed to believe this. So if you saw something like that, like Germans celebrating with candles, I would definitely like to see that. Probably there's some kind of tradition, I don't know. Or like you saw British people warming up pet food on radiators. Please send me some pictures because I'm dying to see that, okay? It's hilarious. And I literally expect somebody to come here and start saying crap like Western countries also do that. Meaning spreading of the most unholy and epic BS you can imagine. Because, there are specific people that believe that because Russia does this, other countries also do that. Because in their world, it's like possible. No, guys, nobody else but Russia does that because it's a piece of crap, okay? It's just wrong, okay? So, do you want more? I have more. You probably saw this picture showing this beautiful pile of bodies in Bakhmut, and I tried to count. Some people came up with the number of 93, some so 95, whatever, nobody cares. And all of those soldiers were eliminated by Ukrainian defenders. And this is what the Wagner official channel in Telegram did. They took this picture and they made a description saying specialists from the restaurant PMC are basically killing Ukrainians, okay? So they took that picture and described it as if those are Ukrainian soldiers. And the funniest thing that in this Telegram channel, Russians started commenting like, are you nuts? Those are Russian soldiers. So I think they had to delete that, but internet remembers everything. That's just another example, and kind of like they do that all the time. Okay. Do you want more? I got more. So this one is not really new, but this is exactly the narrative that they're spreading right now, specifically because Poland supports Ukraine so much. That's why they're trying to ruin our friendship as much as they can. And here you can see this picture showing Poland invading Ukraine, occupying Lviv and random western oblasts of Ukraine. And we have like Kiev's People's Republic or something like that. And of course, it's written Kyiv in Polish. So it's supposed to be like a puppet state of Poland. And Hungary also took a piece of Western Ukraine as well as Romania, and so my neighbor in my previous apartment, he was convinced that this is true, and he told me that he's been told that this map was posted all over Polish trains, right? Railway trains. And funniest thing that was that he never traveled outside of Kiev Oblast, okay? Dear Polish friends, if you're trying to do that, please bring pierogi with you, okay? They're very, very nice. So, do you want more? I have more. According to this video, Ukrainian soldiers were not just Satanists and Nazi. They also participated in a covert testing program for the US scientists that gave them some specific drugs, turning Ukrainian soldiers into real monsters and cyborgs. And basically this report, this piece of news, says that soldiers of the armed forces of Ukraine were given drugs from American biolabs. It's a mainstream Russian news. Just so you could imagine the level of, BS that is constantly day-to-day fed to Russian citizens, okay, Russian viewers. Okay, another example is rather like a direct action type of propaganda, because it's a call. So this leaflet was disseminated by Russian Orthodox Church in Bryansk. And basically they say you are Russian warrior and your destiny is to protect your fatherland from Ukrainian nationalists. And that surrounded with the red color, that text says, your task is to wipe Ukrainian nation off the face of the earth. And this is shared by priests, by Christian priests of the Russian Church. So it's like, on the West, some Russian lovers are really upset with all the trials against the pro-Russian church in Ukraine and yada yada, and They claim it violates the freedom of speech and things like that. How do you think, after seeing this, your task is to wipe Ukrainian nation off the face of the earth? After seeing this, was it justified? I mean, do you call those leaflets, those calls, a freedom of speech, or is it more like hate speech and propaganda of terrorism? Let me know in the commentaries what you think about it. And you should know that such calls were disseminated, were spread by Russian Church, specifically in Donbass, for many, many years, even before the all the like revolutions and war and things like that. So, yeah. Do you remember that picture of destroyed Bakhmut that I showed you previously? So this is the Russian version of this. And basically this picture comes from another Russian Telegram channel, and they say, look what the Ukrainian forces, basically look what Ukrainians, there's derogative for Ukrainians, turned the Russian city of Bakhmut into. And basically they say that because Ukrainians are so Nazi and Satanist and take drugs, they shell themselves because they control the city. Anyways, oh my god. Meanwhile in Russia, okay, though that is not propaganda, that comes from the local news. The title says, "We don't know where to knock. We are freezing." Near Yekaterinburg, people were left without heating in a very bad cold, and locals are trying to warm up in the cold houses as much as they can. So Russians who promised to freeze Ukraine and freeze the Europe, Russians who made all of our German friends buy every candle in Germany. So they are freezing. They have no heating in Yekaterinburg. And Yekaterinburg is actually a very big city and a region, right? This is an interesting video from Megion. It's a town near Khanty-Mansiysk. So Megion was left without heating, and the hot water is pouring onto the streets of the city. It's not cotton. I mean, that is a steam, and you can see that all those cars on the streets are having like a warm bath. And of course, people in Megion were left without heating. They don't have hot water in their pipes. Streets are covered with this hot water. Meanwhile, in Kursk, this one was a cotton, obviously. I'm not sure if this was inflicted by Belgorod partisans, but power station in Kursk is burning, and people were left again without heating. And I think that obviously, the Belgorod People's Republic delivered a deathly blow against the peaceful citizens of the Kursk People's Republic, and we all saw it coming. So I think we're moving a bit to a bit brighter kind of news from different parts of Russia and occupied Crimea. And here we can see a fire apparently in Moscow. because it was posted by a Moscow, I think, Telegram channel, some community. So reckless Russians keep smoking. They just keep smoking, and they keep doing that every time in wrong places, as we know. Even despite, the bad influence of smoking was proved many times, they just keep doing that and they don't learn. And oh my god, Jesus Christ. That's Orenburg. That's another cotton, another fire. And in Orenburg specifically, we can see Russian military camp that was caught on fire, and Russian mobilized men were stationed in this camp, and we don't know about their losses, but they kept smoking. Again. Here we can see another fire, and that's again in Kursk. I think majority of people in Kursk smoke in wrong places. Again, we don't know anything about their losses, but we know that it was a very big fire, massive fire that was only put out by big amount of Russian firemen who arrived to this facility. And we also know that a lot of big bangs and bada booms were reported in Crimea. We know that in Gvardiyska, in Yevpatoria, there were some big explosions. They were heard today. And here you can see a picture of the sky over the Simferopol, and the person that posted this picture is curious, what could it be? To me, it looks like like a trail of a UFO, Martians probably, unknown flying objects. And this one, so during this strike in Makiivka, and we know that a lot of Russian mobilized people were improved as a result of this strike. A lot of Russian mobilized men died there. And among them was this young man, and this was a publication, I think in, is it in Odnoklassniki or Twitter? No idea. But it says, as a result of the missile strike in Makiivka, our friend, brother, and comrade Nikita Sokolov died. Nikita was an active fan of I think, football club Lada Tolyatti. Lada? Why the hell do they call their football club Lada? I wouldn't do that. It's a bad sign, Football club Lada Tolyatti. He was a representative of the community called Old City, and little daughter didn't. So it's like he has a little daughter, and we will be grateful for every help. To be warrior is to live forever. And this young man is. Wait a minute, what the hell? I mean. Do you see what I mean, this man went to fight in Ukraine against Nazi, right? And all that. So what is that on his arm? I mean, something is kind of wrong. I saw that somewhere. Okay, maybe it's like, like hallucinations. And the good news is that Russian and Belarusian soldiers were spotted in Bakhmut. And wait a second, is that a good news? Yes, it is, because those are the soldiers that are fighting against Russian invaders, and we are talking about the Russian voluntary battalion called Freedom for Russia, as well as Belarusian battalion of Kastuсь-Kalinovsky. And those guys are in Bakhmut. Nowadays, they are fighting against all those morons and Wagnerites and Kadyrovites and Putlerites and all that. Yeah, all those forces of murder. And I'm really happy that they are here, because they are doing a fantastic job. It was fast, actually. I didn't expect it from myself, but I managed to show you all that incredible, inhumane, unholy BS spread by Russian propaganda in just under 33 minutes. I think it's a new record for me. It took much more time to find it, actually. Oh my god. He's not born in 88. I bet he's not born in 1988. Something tells me. I hear situation in Bakhmut is really hard right now. It is hard since yesterday. Russians brought a lot of reinforcements, a lot of Wagnerites, and specifically not those convicts, but more trained and prepared Wagnerites. But situation is under control right now. It's much harder in Soledar, actually. And my buddy Brandon is in Bakhmut. He messaged me today, and he's alive and well. And there's a very, very low chance that Russia can change anything in Bakhmut. Basically, even if they manage to push Ukrainian troops out of Soledar, they won't have chance to strike our troops in the flank, because what will happen to conscripts from DPR, LPR that survived the war? I think I don't know. I will eat them. Maybe. I'm just kidding. Nothing will happen to them. Plenty of those conscripts were already captured as prisoners of war, and a lot of them refused to fight. Some of them refused to return. They only want to survive, because male population in Donbass is practically absent. I keep hearing Soledar is lost. Does Ukraine still hold it? So far we know about some very, very tough combat in that area, and we gotta wait until the official reports on that. I cannot talk much about it at this point for obvious reasons. And the main reason is because, my, let's say, my chiefs will be angry at me again, saying, why do you comment it from your position, because you're just a press officer of a brigade, not the armed forces of Ukraine. NASAMs were good, they do, Tommy. So the last time we used those NASAMs, our guys reported that they were using this anti-air system as if it was a multiple rocket launch system, because they were just loading it all the time and shooting at multiple targets, and like 90% of those targets were completely destroyed by the missiles, and it's highly effective. So kudos to our Norwegian friends and our American friends for those systems. They are great. Are the masses of the upcoming mobilized soldiers going to overwhelm the Ukraine military? Paul, I don't think so, because we know that there's approximately 1 million soldiers in Ukraine at this point, professional and mobilized people, and in order to overwhelm this amount of personnel, Russia needs at least 3 million men, or rather, I would say like 4 or 5, to definitely win this war. I don't think that Russian logistics will handle such a huge amount of men. Also, they don't have enough vehicles to support this amount of people. They don't have enough fuel and shells to support so many people. And it's a failed idea, basically. They cannot just, march into Ukraine like in medieval times. However, I think we can expect that from Russia at some point. I wonder why the UK and German media are not reporting on these ridiculous allegations. It seems to me like it would be a good tactic to will support from the public. Probably, yeah. Well, if I was a representative of the UK or German media, I would definitely talk about it a lot. And basically, I'm talking about it because this is my field of field of interest, and my job is to study this unholy BS. Level 70. Will Kremlin now fall this month? We can expect that, and probably a bit earlier than you think. But again, I cannot talk much about it. I don't think it said 88, but SS. Actually, it's like you gotta know this subculture a bit. So there's this holy number for all far right people is 1488, and 14 is 14 words. You better Google it. And 88, basically, yeah, that could be SS, or SS, or it's also translated as eighth number in the alphabet is H, and A, B, C, D, E. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Yeah, it's H, and H means Heil. You know what? You know who. Um, are you happy about the Bradleys? What about the possibility of Leopards? So we've been told by German authorities that we will receive some symbolic number of tanks. I think a lot of them probably like to. I hope more. But as for Bradleys, they are very important for our troops as in terms of performing successful offensive operations. Russians at this point have a lot of armored vehicles, mostly those BMDs, and they are not superior vehicles, but still they have a lot of those. BMDs, BMPs, and stuff like that. They have thousands of them. And that's why in most cases they have advantage. So we need Bradleys, and we need a lot of those. Murder is much better than BMD. I think anything is better than BMD. Even BMD is better than BMD if it's controlled by a Ukrainian crew. You get about 40-50 Bradleys plus same number of murders. Yeah, and hopefully I will be able to make a review of that. I would love to make it. What's better, Stinger or Igla? I talked to my guys about this. So our anti-air guys said that both of them are good. They have more Igla missiles, and they said that sometimes those specifically Russian cruise missiles are better to get to be intercepted with Igla missiles because we have a lot of those. And as for Stingers, they are much better to be used against their helicopters, for example. When you are reading chat, you hold so still. I keep thinking, wait, is the stream hanging? Stream is not hanging. Starsky is hanging. They both make fireballs in the sky. Oh, yeah. Is it still the Wagner group attacking Bakhmut, or has the Russian army taken it on instead? So Wagner group brought more of their trained assault units. Okay, they have different subunits within this Wagner group. For example, those convicts, they have a lot of those. Those convicts are guarded by mobilized men, and they are not allowed to talk to anybody, like to locals, to other units, and stuff like that. No information should be exchanged between those convicts and other Russians or local population. Then they have more trained men But again, it's not like, Russians still have this mythology, this Russian Spetsnaz magic and things like that, contactless combat and yada yada. So Russian Wagnerites receive absolutely the same training as Russian professional soldiers, contract soldiers, right? And it's completely the same. The only difference is that Wagnerites have bigger autonomy, so they don't usually have to coordinate their actions with Russian regular troops, and that's why they are hated so much by Russian regular troops, because they bring a lot of problems. But that's good. Does Wagner have winter gear, or are they going to freeze? Eventually, they all will freeze in Ukraine. Do you remember that the other day there were news that Russians can freeze their sperm for free? Eventually, they will all do that in Ukraine. What has 17 legs, 5 teeth, and smells really bad? An orc platoon. Oh my god. I love this one. Yeah. Bro, they've got Steven Seagull training them. Now I know the secret. Yeah. Definitely. I say give T-800 models to Ukraine. Yeah, I think even one will be enough. He will land in Borispil airport and say, if you want to leave, come with me. And we will go directly to Moscow and set it on fire. How cold will it get, Starsky? So, Audrey, it's very cold right now. Let me check the weather. It's currently it's -4 Celsius. In the night it will be around -5. But because we have very high humidity, it's crazy humidity. So when it's humid, it feels like -15 plus wind. And today I worked in some forest nearby, and yeah, it was freezing. And do you know why ROC Parisianers do black magic and mysticism? I have no idea. If you have idea, please share it with us. Does the cold weather help because it freezes the ground? Yes, of course. In Donbass, there's a very tough kind of soil. So it's like mix of clay with some, I don't know how you call it. It's like soil with clay, and it's very, very muddy. So when there's a rain or when snow melts and stuff like that, it becomes insanely hard to to even to walk on such soil. With each step you become taller and taller because this clay and all this mud sticks to your shoes, and you become taller and taller, literally. We all experience that. And it's very easy to get stuck on a vehicle, and no matter if it's a tank or a truck or anything. So when it's frozen, or in summer when it's dry, and in summer as well as in winter when it's very cold or when it's very hot, in both situations, this soil is it turns into a stone. You cannot dig trench or anything like that with your shovel. And one time I spent either 5 or 7 hours trying to dig a small toilet, and I failed. I only dug something like 50 centimeters, like a bit more than 1 foot deep. So it's very good for offensive operations, counter-offensive operations, for maneuvering in general. Starsky, I just got here. How's situation in Bakhmut? Are you optimistic? I'm always optimistic. Everything will be fine. I heard freezing cold also affects artillery effectiveness. Can you say something about that? Yeah, because we know that cold air has bigger density, and because it has bigger density, you have to improve your calculations for the shell for the trajectory of the shell. For the same reason, for example, airplanes like to fly when it's cold because air is more dense, and you can fly better. It holds your airplane better, basically. That is our soil in South Texas. It is slippery as heck. I agree on that. It's called loam, a mixture of clay, sand, and organic material. Thank you so much. I will remember that. I call it mud. I call it a Donbass mud. It's so crazy, guys. Can you fix your right hoodie string? It's in your shirt. I will not. Okay. So because for the density, rockets still have the same range or be shorter. I think they have a bit shorter range, but I can be wrong. It's good for example, airplanes. It's good for flying objects that have wings, that have those. Oh my god, how do you call them? I knew it. I forgot the term. So if you have wings, it's good. If you don't, I think it's worse. I know that also humid hair. Humid hair. Oh my god. Humid air. If it's humid, you also gotta change your calculations according to this. I'm not an artillerist, unfortunately. I have friends among artillerists. They know more about it. Not gliders, guys. Airfoils. Yeah, that's the word. I'm not gonna fix the left string. I refuse to do that. It has its purpose. Will we expect Ukraine to operate Mius unmanned fighter jets from Turkey in the future? I would love to see them, and One thing I would love to see is those unmanned fighters carrying air-to-air missiles and shooting down some, those Russian analogs of AWACS airplanes. That would be great. How's Max doing? Is he back in Bakhmut? Yes, he is. Ellie, he returned together with mysterious cameraman, and they're doing great. Can the AMX-10 drive through the beautiful Ukrainian mud? It has no tracks chains. I saw BTRs getting stuck in this mud, and one time our BTR got stuck, and BTR is known for being able to go through any sort of terrain. And we had to call for a tank that would tow our BTR from this mud. So it's kind of different. I remember one of the first armored vehicles that we used, and basically it's just like a huge armored truck, okay, for carrying troops. It was called Kozak, and I liked it. Wait a second, I will show it to you. I mean I can. All right, where we have this browser. Oh, here it is. So this is Kozak bronemaschina. There. So this one is great. There on the top you can see a turret, and you can mount anti-tank guided missile or machine gun or anything you wish. If you are a machine gunner, you can basically mount your own machine gun. It's not supposed to be specifically heavy machine gun. And yeah, I like this car very, very much because it has some capsule for the this compartment for the personnel in the back. It's completely isolated, and the seats are not attached to the floor of the car. Basically, they hang. So in case there's some kind of mine, like landmine or anti-tank mine or whatever, people will survive in most cases. And let me see if I can show you its compartment. Our guys were testing it and stuff like that. Oh, here. Actually, I had plenty of pictures of this Kozak car. Wait a minute. Bronemaschina всередині. Yeah, there. No, it's a wrong one. It's not a Kozak. It is. It's not. No, I can't see it. Yeah, could be this one, because I think it's a new version of it. So here you can see those seats. They kind of attached like to the sides, to the walls of this car. In my case, probably it was an older version, but we were sitting like back to back. And it wasn't very convenient, actually. Later, we were given Varta armored vehicles, and those are my favorite. So this is Varta, and you can see just how big it is, and you can see some of the National Guardsmen wearing those funny winter hats. We don't have them anymore, luckily. There, it's very big, it's huge, and because it's huge, you don't want to bring it to the front lines often, because it's a very good target for anti-tank missile or things like that. It has some very, very nice mine protection, and you can see those wheels. They're big, but still Donbass mod shows no mercy. And the reason why I love it, even despite the fact that it's big, is because of its compartment. So you can easily fit like 2 squads inside, easily. Or you can fit a single squad with all kinds of stuff. And I'm talking about, it's not short, it's just a perspective. It's huge. It's epic. So inside you can fit, for example, a whole squad of people, and they can bring all of their stuff with them. And I'm talking about there, for example, you can imagine just how big it is. Whole squad with ammunition, with weapons, with sleeping bags, with food, water, those stoves, for heating or anything, field kitchens. For example, deers that were shot in the field. You tell me. So you can fit all of that inside of this vehicle, and that's why I freaking loved it. And when the war ends, I would love to have one. I would go bankrupt because this baby consumes a lot of diesel, but you can imagine this car with like lights and subwoofers and speakers attached to it, and actually it's a nice car to to go to a club and stuff like that. It's my dream, actually. Have you seen a senator vehicle from Rochelle in Toronto, Canada? I think I know what you're talking about, but I don't have much information about it. How much they cost? Scott, I think they cost a lot. And this car is like 2 times taller, basically, than BTR. We compared. It's bigger than BTR. You don't want to bring that to the front line. It's a one-way ticket. Will you use orcs to clean up all the unexploded ordnance after the war? I think it's a good idea. Why not? They gotta clean after themselves, right? What it's called again? So this car is called Varta. I'll just type it in the chat. There it is. It's very nice. It's big, but that's the reason it's nice. Does it have cup holders? Yes, it does. It also has specific stands for your AKs. There's a specific stand where it looks like a cup holder actually, but that's a place where you hang your RPG. One time I made like a small photo review of Varta for my Facebook. This is exactly how I became like popular in Ukrainian Facebook. Does it have Apple CarPlay? I think it has some sort of, so it has like fire extinguisher. That's why the biggest problem for me and for my boys was that you cannot smoke inside because those automatic fire extinguisher would go off. And I remember one time we were making some video at the camp, and those Vartas were parked in the park, and at some point I've heard like pts, and so apparently one of those detectors detected a high temperature because it was in summer and it was hot inside, and it got activated. It happens sometimes. I think they already fixed that, but it was cool. And it also has those like small holes on each side, so you can just stick your AK into the hole and open fire. And we use those holes to smoke, You can vape. Oh my god! Why didn't I think about it? Do you think Greta would approve this one? I doubt that. You can smoke through the gun ports. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what we did. And I also know some of the drivers who did something to those detectors, because if there's a choice to smoke or to stay alive, you'd probably choose smoking, I guess. Considering the fact Russians always smoke and die, yeah. Your mod in the Donbass must be like the Louisiana mod we call Gumbo mod in the state of Louisiana. I think so. Does it have a solar panel on the top? It has a turret on the top. It has no solar panel, fortunately. No automatic climate, nothing like that. Any thoughts on Belarus and northern border concerns? Currently, we are monitoring this situation, and in case we notice that Belarusians are preparing their troops, we will react, of course. We know that they're bringing their reinforcements a lot. We know that, according to the information I had probably 2 days ago, they already had 12,000 men, specifically Russians, located in Belarus. But we don't see enough armored vehicles or tanks arriving to Belarus. And that is suspicious because they don't have enough of vehicles to be able to use them efficiently. However, personally, I'm still convinced that they will attack. I am. And I think that they will need probably 2-3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks, in order to prepare everything to make this attack possible. Would it be good or bad if they invaded from Belarus? I don't really think it will change much unless they will, let's say, distract some of our reserves. But it's not like they have enough troops. They need much more soldiers. If they want to occupy Kiev, they need at least 100,000 men with enough vehicles, with enough fuel trucks, of course, with enough artillery. They can use their attack aviation, their helicopters, and Su-25 airplanes. And in my opinion, that's exactly what they will try to do. They will strike our positions. If they invade, they will hit our positions. They will bring their troops closer to our positions and try to take our positions the way they did it in the middle of this invasion, let's say, not in the beginning, when they were just moving in columns and being destroyed. So it will be a different thing, but I think it's exactly the way it's gonna happen. Did Ukraine continue building that wall at the Belarus border? From what I saw, yeah. I'm not sure if it will be enough to stop their tanks, probably not, but again, there's a huge span of border, let's say, in the forest, okay? Forests cannot be used to move tanks across, they armored vehicles and tanks cannot move through forests. They can destroy a couple of trees, but generally they cannot move deep into forest. It's impossible. And those are very, very dense forests with huge amount of trees growing densely, and they can use infantry basically to move through this terrain, but it's a very tough task. So this wall actually can be very efficient versus infantry. It can hold them for some time, but not for long. Again, as for artillery, you cannot use artillery much in the forest. Probably at the range of 50 meters away from you, the shell will not do any damage to you. in such a thick forest, you know. It's swampy land near Belarus, exactly. We know that a lot of Russian reconnaissance teams were spotted, and they are still spotted, and they launched their UAVs from that area north to south of Belarus. It's north of Ukraine, south of Belarus. They launched their UAVs from there a lot, and we see some of them flying over Hostomel as well. And what they do is they're constantly trying to find some kind of way for their troops to move deeper into Ukrainian territory. So we see that a lot. We see those activities. Would Belarus soldiers fight against Ukraine? Voluntarily, they will not. Majority of them would not fight against Ukraine voluntarily. But if they're given an order to attack, they would attack. Because, guys, this is how the army works, right? You don't discuss your orders, you just do what you're said. What alligators or crocodiles are they in the swamps? I don't think we have alligators, unless some of the Russian Ka-52 helicopters crashed in a swamp. You know, other than those, we don't have alligators or crocodiles. According to a poll, they would mostly make a show of force. They already do that. We saw so recently, for example, like last week, we already saw them moving some units towards the border. Again, they weren't like bringing BMPs or tanks. They were bringing some light armored vehicles with their troops, and they tried to like show off, you know. But we all knew that they were not gonna attack. We will know that they are preparing to attack if they concentrate huge amount of men and vehicles and prepare their field hospitals and stuff like that, bring enough fuel trucks and form columns and things like that. And we are closely monitoring that. Guys, all kinds of intelligence services are monitoring what happens in Belarus, believe me. Elephants. How can you win a war without elephants? I agree with you, my friend. And spears. I would personally like to have like a spear and drive my BTR into those flanks. That would be great. But elephants, I totally agree with you. And magicians. But of course, Ukrainians have magicians and witches as well. Can you tell something about kamikazes? Do Russians use them much? So, if you're talking about those Russian pilots that crash here and there in Russia, don't know much, but As for their kamikaze drones, I haven't seen them being used for quite some days because of the low temperature. Apparently, those drones that were made in Iran, and in Iran they don't have such low temperatures as we have here in Ukraine, um, apparently they don't really work when it's like -5. And that's exactly what we see now. Archers and crossbowmen, of course. We need enough those, as well as my dedicated swordsman. The war raccoons? How about burning pigs? Attack ammo. Oh my god, this is so cool. Attack ammo. Assault ammo, I would call them. Trebuchets. Guys, we need Lindy Page here. And if you are not subscribed, you gotta do that. Okay. Catapults, ballistas. Okay, guys, let's talk about something else. Let's talk about pizza. So the other day, I think who asked me that? So someone asked me like whether Hawaiian pizza, like pineapples with meat, like is it good or bad? Is it appropriate, or is it like heresy? Like what do you think about it? Let me know. Jesus, we're talking about food again. Did Anna make you pizza yet? Not yet, unfortunately, Mike. Anna lives far away. That's why probably I will be blessed with her pizza maybe sometime after this war is finished. Sushi on pizza. Uh, Sushi on pizza. Well, that sounds unholy. That sounds like a heresy, in my opinion. Sushi with pizza. You gotta pick one, either sushi or pizza. Is there a Ukrainian pizza topping that the world would think is weird? Yeah, we talked about it with Samantha Williams the other day, and for example, in Ukraine we have Domino's pizza. And what makes it special is that I'm sure you all know about like pizza four cheeses, right? In Ukraine, we have pizza with 5 cheeses in Domino's. 5 cheeses. It's amazing. Brandon brought pizza to the troops in the trenches in Bakhmut the other day. Yeah, Brandon is legendary, and this reminds me when we were deployed in Svitlodarsk, and it was like this. Back in those days, we would receive some spam via SMS, Sometimes, because I used to order sushi when I was in Kiev, using our Sushi 24 service. Sometimes it was pizza. So it was like this. We are like somewhere in the trenches, smoking cigarettes, doing nothing, observing and stuff like that. And of course, in the trenches, like on your position, you are usually very sad and very hungry. And sometimes I would receive those SMS like, just for you, today we have 20% discount for a huge Hawaiian pizza. And I would call them and say, can you deliver them to Svitlodarsk? I will show you the trench. And they would go like, we don't deliver them to the trench. And it was really sad. Do you ride a motorcycle? Not really, but if I ever will, that will be a chopper, I think. But in order to ride chopper properly, you gotta grow big belly, even bigger muscles, huge beard, and have plenty of tattoos. Because, that's the proper way of riding chopper. Here in Ukraine, we have plenty of IT guys. Usually it's like game developers, coders, and I don't know, texture artists, and other type of IT people. So majority of them, you can imagine them, stereotypically majority of them are kind of nerds, and because they receive usually big salaries, they join all kinds of motorcycle gangs, and it looks so funny when they have like 3 different Harley Davidson choppers, and they wear those leather jackets and stuff, and they look very cool. Not really shredded though, but still. And they join those like motorcycle gangs of IT specialists. It's so amazing. Coder gangs, yeah, Christopher, exactly. Coder gangs. Those guys are nasty. They are dangerous. Brandon also said in one of his videos that maybe you 3 together with Johnny were not all single. I think Brandon lied. We are all bachelors, which is both curse and blessing. Why is Wagner so strong even though so many criminals have been conscripted? It's because they have a lot of those criminals. I think currently they have between 35 and 40,000 convicts that are basically used as cannon fodder, but theoretically they could recruit around 65,000 convicts. Is Ukrainian beer good? Yeah. Żywiec. Żywiec is very nice beer. It's a Polish beer. Yeah, in Ukraine we have Lvivska, we have Chernihivska, different sorts of beer, and it's very, very nice. I could compare to the beer sold in the U.S. I tried American Bavarian beer, and I can tell you that Bavarian beer in Ukraine tastes better. I mean that one that is produced in Ukraine, and we have Sarmat. We have different types of those, and we have like light, dark, anything. Strong, not so strong. I'm not a big fan of beer, actually, guys. It's Obolon beer. Yeah, one of the most famous beers in Ukraine is Obolon. I'm not a big fan of beer. Remember Bogdan, my buddy? So one time I arrived to Chernihiv specifically to get drunk with Bogdan, and I had absolutely zero alcohol for like 1.5 years. And that day I was waiting for him in a pub. So I was waiting for him in a pub, and I ordered a beer. And they brought me a beer, and I tasted it, and then I was like, tastes great. Why did I avoid it? For what reason? So I got drunk. And I don't really remember the way this evening ended, but yeah, it was great. What is my favorite drink? So it's a protein shake. I drink probably 1 liter of milk per day, and I also drink plenty of juices. I don't really like drinking just pure water, so I prefer milk, coffee with like 5 spoons of sugar and milk, and protein shakes and juices. The trick is to force yourself to drink enough beer for your body to adjust to the taste. Ah, well, sounds wise. Coca-Cola, not much of Coca-Cola really. Uh, I used to like Coca-Cola, but it's not really healthy. Do people drink iced tea in Ukraine? Yes, David, they do, and I do sometimes too. I used to ride a bike, like a bicycle, couple of years ago, and I would always have a big bottle of iced tea with me. Question: who are you on the Discord app? On the Discord app, I am. Oh my god. I never remember who I am on a Discord. And frankly, I'm not using Discord often because. Jesus. Guys, I have like 901 message on a Discord. That's exactly the reason why I'm not using Discord much. How are you feeling, Starsky? I feel hungry because we were just talking about pizza and stuff, and pizza with sushi and 5 cheeses and beer and everything you can imagine. When will Russians overthrow Putin? Like never. Vanilla Coke and Pizza Hawaii. Vanilla Coke? Does it even exist? I've never heard about it. I saw you on Discord once, like five months ago. Yeah, that can be possible. Is your milk homogeneous? How do you read this word? Homogeneous? Filtered? And can you buy it in bags like here in Canada? Yeah, we have different sorts of milk. It comes in like bottles, paper bags, packs, and like mini tanks, you know. And we have all kinds of milk, like anywhere in the world. Can be filtered. It can be almond milk, can be coconut milk that tastes like coconut, lactose free, and things like that. Vanilla Coke, guys. I've never heard about vanilla Coke. Dr. Pepper is nice. It's one of my favorite ones. If when Russia attacks Kiev, what do you think will the army composition looks like? They will definitely have plenty of tanks. They will probably have enough of BMPs, probably older ones. They will have plenty of attack aviation, in my opinion. So I think that if they decide to attack Kiev once again, they will use their aviation and tactical missiles to strike our positions and use their troops to move through those dense forests. Again, because there's like 4 roads coming from Belarus to Ukraine, and we have them all under control. And it will be very tough to use those roads now when we are prepared. So they will probably use their troops their infantry basically to move through forests and get closer to our positions and try to break through our lines of defense. This is how it looks to me. I doubt though that they will try using their airborne troops. However, why not? I bought a lot of milk in Ukraine, and I remember that even vodka was cheaper than. Shocking. Yeah, you could buy vodka in high school easily. Not in the very school, but when you were studying in the high school, you could do anything. Back in my days. Can the Patriot systems shoot down fighter jets? From what I know, yeah, they can. Do you have any friends or relatives who live in Russia? I have some friends who live in Russia. And maybe my very, very far relatives on the level of like my cousin of my grandpa, you know. Do you have any brothers and sisters? I have a brother who lives in Sydney, Australia, with my mother. They're both there. Top 5 Ukrainian dishes everyone should try. So it's deruni. Deruni is it's like pancakes made of potato. They taste great. Borscht, of course you know about borscht, but there's also green borscht. Then you gotta try cabbage rolls, also known as holubtsi. You gotta try cherry vareniki. They are amazing, and you gotta try 2 versions of them, boiled and prepared with steam. And as for holubtsi, you should also try stuffed pepper, and you should also try holubtsi not only with rice but also with the buckwheat. Again, it's very important. And what else? What did I miss? So you know there's a jam, right? Like cherry jam, apple jam, things like that. We have some very specific jam called pork jam. So it's like salo, traditional Ukrainian stuff, mixed with huge amount of garlic and salt, and you gotta take this pork jam and put it on a bread, and you can consume it with like, I don't know, with potato or borscht or anything else, and it tastes fantastic. Green borscht is borscht without beetroot. Yes, Jesus Christ, it's borscht without beetroot plus some additional ingredients. Golomki. Yeah, holubtsi is golomki. Cabbage rolls are amazing. Yeah, they are, especially with tomato sauce. Guys, I'm sorry, I gotta run because this stream made me so hungry. Where to fish in Ukraine? One of the best places to fish in Ukraine is Desna River. It's northern Ukraine. It's north of Kiev, I would say. North of Kiev, southwest of Chernihiv Oblast. There's this huge river that becomes flooded and it gets wider and it floods a huge area like forests and fields. And there you can find all kinds of fish, like anything you want. And you gotta have some kind of boat, for example, and yeah, you can go fishing, catch all kinds of fish. I don't know how to translate into English. I tried fishing once. I failed. I like the process. It's a very peaceful process, but I failed a couple of times, more than 5 times. Chernobyl radiation in fish. There's no Chernobyl radiation in fish, usually. Any soldier using horses in Ukraine? Here, I am one. Okay. Guys, I gotta go and have a snack because I'm really freaking hungry. We were talking about like pizza and sushi and gołąbki and things like that. It made me really hungry. I gotta wrap up this stream. Thank you so much for being here, and I hope that you will have something tasty after this video. Thank you so much. Thank you for staying awesome. Thank you for supporting my country because it's a proper thing to do. And we will see you in the next one. My name is Operator Starsky. As always, thanks for watching.